All right, round two. Welcome everyone to Club Success Plan, Club Officer Training. Go ahead and rename yourself to include your role. It's not mandatory. I'm not going to be quizzing you on it. And then also, if you didn't receive the pre-session workbook or the workbook, I'm going to post the agenda in the chat. And then also the agenda has Google links. If you don't have access to Google from your workstation, let me know and I can put in the other links. Here is tonight's agenda. It also has the survey for the end of the session attached to it in the event that you have to leave early or somehow miss the link. My name is Shawna Broeker, and I will be facilitating tonight's training. I am current Division D director, and this is my second year as Division Director. I am going to do a shameless plug right now and let you know that I'm still looking for area directors. So if you feel the need to step up and join my team, I would be forever grateful. You can just let me know. Tonight, though, we're going to be talking about the Club Success Plan. And I have kind of a funny story about it. When I was first president, my very first time, our club had just chartered. I had zero idea what I was doing, but I was going to be an overachiever and read through all the manuals and do everything by the book. And I was like, oh, I need to create a club success plan. And I did it myself. I went through all of the fields and did it myself. And then I did it again the next year. And then it was our new president that enlightened me that we should probably do it as a team. And I was like, that's probably a good idea. And that's what we did at the next meeting or the next year, is we actually put together a meeting for all of us as officers to create the club success plan. And it worked a lot better because everyone had buy-in, everyone knew what they were doing, and we even created our own little club motto or our own little mission statement. And so that year especially, all of the officers had a ton of buy-in. I'm pretty sure we reached President's Distinguished, and we also grew as a team and became closer. So hopefully by the end of tonight's training, you'll be able to know what a club success plan is, how to create one, begin getting your team's buy-in, and be on your way to being a really successful club through this plan. So let's get started. Tonight, we will be going over improving plans and then the club success plan simulation. So in the pre-work book that I sent out earlier, I hope that you all had a chance to go over it. There was a lot of really good information. I mean, it was Cliff's Notes, but as far as planning goes and facilitating meetings, that's the stuff that I learned getting my MBA. So you're getting a degree's worth of knowledge in those quick Cliff's Notes. And it's not only going to help you with your Toastmasters Club, it's going to help you in your secular work. It's going to help you on any team you're in. It had a lot of really good information, and I hope that you were able to go through some of it because it will help you tonight. And it'll help you in the future as well. We'll also be going over the club success plan simulation. So that's going to be our breakout room number 2. So we'll have a breakout room where we go through the workbook and you go through the workbook. Dennis, you didn't find the workbook. Let me put the link in the chat for you. Okay, try that one. So for improving plans, you'll be going through the workbook, you'll see an already made plan, and you'll work as a group to determine how to make it better. And then for the club success plan simulation, you get practice filling out your club success plan with your team. Let me put the link to the workbook in the chat again for those of you that don't have it. So that's the link to the workbook. And then if you need a link to the pre-workbook, it's going to be right here. Just a second. I'll label it pre-work. Okay. So hopefully that helps you guys out so you're on the same page. Okay, so improving plans, club success plan simulation, that's the agenda for tonight. And the objectives are to recognize the advantages to good planning, assess and revise planning documents to improve effectiveness, and develop planning documents to effectively target goals. And if you've ever heard of SMART goals, this club success plan really holds you to those SMART goals that are measurable, that you can take action on and really hone in on, not just a generic goal like we want to get new members, but actual plans where we want to get this many members by this date and this is how we're going to do it. So tonight's training will help you do all of that. So first up, improving plans. Now this is a way to let you know that these plans need deliberate attention and you need to maintain them, address them. If your current situation changes, you need to update them, and you might have to go back to these plans throughout the year. You want to discuss with your team in advance, and creating this club success plan with your officers, it might take more than one meeting. You might have a planning meeting and you might take 1 or 2 meetings to actually complete the plan. So you want to discuss in advance what, when, how, and who on these plans, because you want to bridge any gaps where you are and where you want to be. So you want to use this plan to get from A to B. And then this document is really the key planning document because it's going to outline how your club will grow, how your leaders are going to be trained, how your members are educated, how you're going to meet compliance targets from a club level and even area and beyond, and also achieve success. We were talking before a lot of you joined this meeting about how 15, 20 years, some clubs were presidents distinguished, and now they're barely staying afloat. So this is a really good tool that Toastmasters has given the clubs to be able to be successful. And I know it's hard with the pandemic, but this might make a few differences. So we're gonna, before our breakout room, we have our whole room discussion. And feel free to unmute yourself or put in the chat. We're gonna take a few minutes and talk about what brings people to Toastmasters and what are their goals. Who wants to be brave and go first? Mary Eileen, go ahead and unmute yourself.
My home club, Ballard Weekenders, gets a lot of people who want to improve their English. We meet on Saturday mornings, and that seems to be a popular time for students and for Amazon employees and Google employees. And more, I would say at least half of our club are people for whom English is a second language. So that's a big reason for us.
Great, thank you. Dennis, go ahead.
I have noticed in both of my clubs that improving English language is one of the #1 goals. The other one is speech organization and learning to becoming more comfortable making presentations. So you've got the language, the second language, and the presentation skills.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Linda, go ahead.
And the use of mentors if you should need one.
I have observed the things that have been said already, but also for some people, it's checking off a box in their performance development within their organization.
Mm-hmm.
Or people who have been in the clubs a long time and seem to now be dropping out. It tends to be a bit more social and just having a community, and also to have a chance to give speeches on just any topic.
Great, thank you. People who are new to the area and want to meet people, yeah, that's a great reason that people join. All right, so moving on, we're going to do a breakout room activity. So this is making the plan right. So you'll go through the club scenario and look at core planning samples and how this club in this scenario can make their club success plan better. So here are the rules. So the breakout room tips, I have you automatically assigned. So once I open them, you can, you should just zip over. If not, there's the join breakout room, and you can, it should just let you join the one you're assigned to. You can use the Zoom tools as needed, assign a timekeeper, and watch for broadcasts and chat messages. I'll let you know when 10 minutes is up, when 15 minutes is up, when 18 minutes is up, and you'll get a 30-second countdown. So you have 20 minutes in the breakout rooms. And here is the assignment. You'll read each of the 3 scenarios and club success plans in your participant workbook and edit the plans provided. You'll have 20 minutes, and this starts on page 2 in the session workbook. Anyone have any questions before I open up the rooms? And I can also send a message with what you're supposed to do, if that's helpful. All right, I'm not hearing any questions or seeing any in chat, so I'm going to open up the rooms, and you'll have 20 minutes, and I'll send a chat message in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope that you had some great conversations, and now we're going to do a whole room discussion so we can hear about them. We have just a couple minutes for this slide. So the question, and feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand using the raise hand feature, which is under reactions. So what were the most common issues with the club success plans that you edited? And I'm not going to go room by room like we do for some. Linda Eastwood, go ahead, get us started.
I would say the biggest problem is lack of commitment. It looks like nobody cares.
That's a big problem. Dennis, what about you? You are muted.
Thank you.
There we go.
The big discussion was membership generation.
Mhm.
And I would like to put an addendum to that is, how do you deal with ghost members? So the first question is, where do you find potential members? I suggested Meetup. And the hot ticket that came out of the whole thing was basically some way post your meeting minutes on your website and hit heavy on the accomplishments and many pictures. If you've got a series of stock pictures, shoot them into the website. But the important thing is, hey, folks, this last week we had 2 speeches and they were on this topic and that topic, and they were evaluated. And the best speaker was so-and-so, and the best evaluator was so-and-so. And oh, dear me, that crazy guy gave us table topics again that were impossible, but we eked out a winner. So something like that to go into the website to generate a little interest.
Mhm. Everybody loves a little competition.
Oh, yeah. But the idea is we got to get away from the idea that it's a social club. You're there to learn something.
Mhm.
And so the meetup program or the meetup introduction should specify that Toastmasters is an organization dedicated to thinking, listening, and public speaking.
Great. Thank you. Maria.
I wanted to it was mentioned in the chat room, I think Christina Bowman said it, but the plans that were presented lacked detail. They lacked appropriate timelines, like they hadn't paid attention to the timelines and the deliverables. So you didn't have, as you mentioned, the SMART goal sort of format. We need to do X by X date, and this is how we're going to get there. And this is how we're going to measure it, that kind of thing wasn't really there. So just being a little bit more concrete, even though we're all doing this on the side, being a little bit more concrete about how we plan to move forward.
Yeah.
Helps us to be more accountable.
Thank you. And going to the chat, Mary Aline said getting members to love and use pathways. Christina, plans need to be more specific with start dates and end dates. And Raina mentioned that better identification of who is actually responsible for what steps and parts of the plan, which we all know is really important. You got to know who's doing what. Otherwise, either nothing gets done or you're stepping on each other's toes. So the next question is, what are the risks of not refining the plan? So had that club just stuck with the plan, what would be the risk? Yeah, and who is doing follow-up? Exactly, Linda. So go ahead and raise your hand or use the chat. Christina, go ahead.
Well, you don't really know what success is going to look like if you don't define what that's going to look like.
Yeah, exactly right. And James, no forward moving progress, exactly. Poor plans tend to fall apart, not get completed. Diminished motivation of the club officers. And how about you, Monica? Go ahead.
Well, if we don't continue to refine the plan, we risk, staying stagnant or kind of falling down, because I feel like success is like you either go up or you start to fall, or, you start to hit that middle ground where you kind of stay stuck.
Exactly. And we don't want to stay stuck. We want to move forward and we want to see our club members grow. So next up, oops, sorry. So improving plans, the section that we just covered. Ideas to follow up after you've created a club success plan is get feedback from your area director, review, reconsider, and revise your club success plan periodically. Maybe when club officer training comes around, you set that on your calendar as something to go over in the officers meeting so that you're reviewing it twice a year, or maybe you review it quarterly. And the feedback from the area director is really important because they're able to see what other clubs are doing as well, and they might be able to give you some options that might work for your club so that you can kind of beef up that club success plan. All right, and now we're actually going to move on to the club success plan simulation portion. So in this portion, you're going to be using your workbook and you're going to go into breakout rooms again. And the more that you do this club success plan, and especially with this simulation here in the training, you're going to receive more feedback. You're going to get better at it. The more planning you do, you're going to get better at that, which is going to help your club in the long run. And quantity equals quality in this standard. You know, most times you're like, oh, quality is always better than quality. Sorry, quality is better than quantity. But in this case, both are equal because you have to spend that time and put in the quality in order for your club to work. And Mary Allen said, make sure the plan is shared regularly with the club members and recognize members for every level achieved either at the beginning or end of each club meeting. And that's great. And that gives the whole club buy-in to this club success plan. And maybe they might see that the officers have done such a great job that might inspire them to be future officers. So you're also setting an example for your club members. All right, so breakout room, you're going to have 20 minutes again. And let's see. Well, okay. My facilitator guide is off a little bit. Okay, so I have one question before we go into the breakout rooms. Wait, no, we already did that one. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm on the wrong page. It's late. Okay, so we are going to do the breakout room activity, the club success plan simulation, and it is on page 9 in the session workbook. You're going to go into the same breakout rooms. So you'll, once I assign it, you'll hit the join breakout room button if you don't automatically go. So make sure you hit the accept and then assign a timekeeper, watch for the broadcast and chat messages, which I'll send like I did last time, and then use the ask for help button if needed. Any questions before I send you to breakout rooms? All right, I hear crickets.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Felice.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Thank you. I want to confirm, is it page 9 or page 11?
Let's see, that says start on page 9. Let me just double check. Page 9.
9 says administrative action plan, and 11 says club plan simulation.
It's 11. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right, so start on page 11. I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about. Just kidding. All right, I'm going to open up the rooms and let me know if you need me. I'll see you all in 20 minutes. I'm going to resume the recording and let's talk about the simulations that you just did. Share this other screen here. So believe it or not, I have the answers to the simulation. And so I'm supposed to share my screen. Okay, so simulation 1, and these are just model answers. It could really be anything, but for simulation 1, and we'll have a group discussion in just a moment, but I wanted you to see what the model answers were. For number one, our club is looking to grow 10% beyond their requirements. We traditionally struggle with converting leads to members. We're a club that is known for giving aggressive feedback to help member growth. We think this turns visitors off from joining our club. Our club struggles with getting guests information and following up with information. We currently rely on word of mouth marketing, but we need to look beyond that now. We're a club with primarily retired or soon to be retired members. A lot of people who contact us are from local colleges and universities, and they don't usually choose to join. So a lot of this sounds like the problems that you all said you were facing in your clubs when we talked earlier. And you have access to the dashboard for your club on the Toastmasters website through Leadership Central. So you can look at your dashboard and you can see where you're at for your goals based on what you've submitted or what your VPE has submitted, or even the treasurer or VP membership. But working together, you can, as long as the dashboard is, or as long as the information that you're putting in is up to date, you know, who's paid, who's not, this dashboard is really going to give you a good starting point. And then walking through, you can, walking through that club success plan, you can put in your numbers and then be really specific about your goals. So so the starting point, the club's membership base is 12, the qualifying requirement, so your club must have 20 base members or a net growth of at least 5 new members. So aim to have 17 plus, a net growth of 5 plus, and then how many of the 10 goals, so those are those distinguished club goals, or the distinguished club plan goals, does your club aim to achieve? That's, on this scenario, it's over 5. And then here's where you can put in the membership situation, obstacles. It really breaks down what problems you're having as a club and walks you through action items to help you solve those. And then in simulation 2, members get through the education, but very slowly. They seem more focused on participation in meetings than completing their path. Members give great speeches, but focus their speeches on subjects that are not within the path and often do not address the path. Dual members have a habit of giving awards to their other clubs instead of assigning them here. The most active members take up most of the spots for roles, and there's not many opportunities. I feel like that would be a hard problem to have. I know a lot of your art clubs don't have a lot of active members, or you have trouble filling the roles. But hopefully through this club success plan, we can get to a good problem like not having enough members, or to fill it, having too many members to fill the spots. Also having a few longtime members who do not want to work in pathways. Members don't seem excited about achieving awards. And once again, it brings you to the dashboard so that you can see where you're at and where you need to be. And then once again, it takes you through all of these questions to help you make your club success plan work for your club. So it's really great problem solving tool. So I want to open it up to you and find out what you all thought about the simulation. So go ahead and you raise your hand or use the chat function. And I'm gonna share my other screen. Go. All right, so who has a comment on simulation 1? What was surprising? What did you learn? What are you going to take back to your club? Dennis, go ahead.
2 things. Simulation 1 says that it's primarily an older group. close to retirement or retirement. And their main draw for guests are college kids. Think of the diversity that you could have here. Think of the ideas that could be shared. And I think that's something that we're looking at in one of my clubs. There's all of us, not all of us, but there are members there that are over 80 and over 90. And we try to inspire the youngsters to express their views. And there was a second one that the diversity was a good idea. I've lost it. Okay, that's because my short-term memory has gone away. So back to you.
Thank you. I think my short-term memory rubbed off on you tonight. All right. Anyone else on simulation 1? Linda, go ahead.
We talked about the obstacles. It's one, they mentioned that they're not turning prospects into members. So that sounds like they're just not follow-up. And they say they don't have a way to collect information about their guests. That can be a very simple process. I'm not good at it, but I know that there are those out there who are very good about collecting that information. And if they get anybody through the TI website, they have contact information right there that they can reach out to those people. As Dennis mentioned, mostly older members, and the population is a younger group of people. There are ways to make that work. If they need to adjust the way that they do their evaluations so that maybe they're not so threatening, and have a newer person come in, and it's not that hard to adapt. If you feel like you're scaring people off, then that tells me if I'm the one scaring somebody off, I need to change my behavior. I don't need to expect them to change their behavior. So it's doing that. And then, is this an in-person or virtual meeting? What's going on there? Can they do targeted advertising through university or college groups? Is there a way to reach out to speaking clubs on campus or employment groups on campus? Something like that. And what social media options are available for them to reach out?
Yeah, that's great. All right, let's shift to simulation 2.
Oh, I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Does anybody ask them to join? I am not good about that, but I have been in a club where there was someone who was an excellent asker, and so many people joined just because they were asked the question.
Yeah. And what's the worst they can do? Say no, or say they want to be a guest again? At least you're putting it out there. Yeah, that's great. All right, so simulation 2. What did you all think about that? Was anything surprising? Was there anything you would do different? Linda, do you still have your hand up for simulation 2?
Oh.
Okay. Oh, Christina, having a shared spreadsheet with guest information. That is a great idea. Check in the chat, see if I missed anything. All right, nothing on simulation 2. Mary Eileen, go ahead.
Well, I'm sure everybody's dealing with this, but before COVID, we used to, in a friendly way, gang up on guests after the meeting. Everybody wanted to make guests feel welcome, and it's just a lot harder on Zoom. And for us, hybrid meetings, if anything, have caused our attendance to drop. So, hybrid meetings have been really awkward for us. And we did a lot of work to get our hybrid meetings going, but we still have people who are not comfortable in person, because I would say because they're older, but Don Severson, who's 95, doesn't care. He wants to enjoy whatever time he has left. So and anyway, there are still challenges. We're working on it.
Definitely. Go ahead, Linda.
The other, I see here, most active members take up most of the spots for roles, and there are not many opportunities for other members to volunteer. That seems like it's not that difficult a behavior to change if you just change the way that you assign roles, have your VPE be more active and reaching out to people to say, hey, we'd love to have some newer members step in and take roles. Would you mind being an evaluator and share your expertise instead of sharing your speeches every week?
I like it.
There just needs to be better communication, I think, within the club. I do understand longtime members not wanting to work in pathways. That one, if someone has a great answer for that one that works in their club, I'd share it. And the members don't seem excited about achieving awards. That one I think is in part because sometimes we don't share that there are awards. I didn't know about DTM for a couple of decades. It just wasn't even on my radar.
Thank you for sharing. All right. So last, share and agree on your planning process and best practices before you begin to plan. So that is, in a nutshell, like what you need to do with your officers, and then share it once you're done with all of your members. Zoe, simulation 2, accountability partners, officers leading by example by completing tasks and celebrating the level milestone. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That would definitely add benefit to the club success plan and the follow through and even the morale of the club. That's great. So we went over improving plans and then also the club success plan simulation. So hopefully tonight you took away from this training what you need to bring back to your club to make it successful. And this plan will help you with the follow through. And now that you've had the simulation, you'll be really prepared to just go in and not knock it out by yourself. Don't pull a Shawna, but get your officers involved and really plan it together. And I want you to put in the chat while we transition to district trio announcements. What is one thing you learned from this session that you will implement in your club? So you do that while I hand it over and stop my screen share to Linda Vorthman, our Program Quality Director.
Oh, thank you, Shawna. Big round of applause for Shawna tonight. She did everything all by herself. So Shawna, but good job, very good job. We do encourage people to share the wealth and get a Zoom host and a timer and have support staff. So, so tonight I'm going to share a poll, and we don't care how you answer. We just appreciate if you would answer, please. So I'm launching the poll. Can you see it on your screen? Anybody want to give me a thumbs up?
I can see it on mine.
Okay, great. That's a start. I'd love it if everybody could just put in answers. There's only 2 questions, so it's pretty straightforward. We just want to know what you'd be willing to step up and do. I'll give you a minute for that. So while you're completing the 2 questions, I'll just let you know that we did raise the incentive for the Super 7. Super 7 is when all 7 officer positions are trained with the club officer trainings or the Toastmasters Leadership Institute that we had in June. So remember, it doesn't have to be 7 people. It just is all 7 officers. Sometimes one club might have one person do 2 offices, or You might be an officer in 2 clubs or 3 clubs. That's fine. You get credit for everything. We're very generous, but you will get $70 now for training all 7 officers. Plus, you get your DCP goals met. So off to you, Tommy, and I'm going to keep the poll open for another minute and see if we can get everybody to respond.
Thank you, Linda. Good evening, District 2 club leaders. Thank you for sharing part of your time with us today and taking time to stretch yourself for your clubs. I have 2 things for you. You heard about the club success plan tonight. I'd like to ask you to consider pairing that up with moments of truth. Moments of truth.
Tommy, you want mute.
Thank you. What happens when you try to do 3 things at the same time? I just put the standard moments of truth link in the chat. This is the paper version. Moments of truth works great when you do it before the club success plan with all of the information and ideas it will give you. It can be done at any time during the year. District 2 has a different way of doing it. You can do the paper version. However, if your club president emails me, I will connect your president with our Moments of Truth coordinator. We have Moments of Truth on a digital survey that your club will have its own link that you can share with each member of your club. We do ask that 80% of your club complete the survey. Once that survey is complete and you've reached that 80%, then we will tally the results, provide your president and a presenter with the survey results who will guide your club through the final process. So, and again, we provide the presenter. It's normally someone who has presented Moments of Truth before, but to do that, your club president needs to email me. Second one, really quickly, International Convention is coming up. That means International Business Meeting. Each club has 2 proxy votes for the international vote. Your president or your secretary may assign those to anyone in your club or any other Toastmaster who is attending either virtually or in person the convention. One of the easiest ways to do is share your proxy with the district director, Tina Tate. Your trio has interviewed all of the international candidates, and we have a great slate selected that we would like to support. If you do not register your proxy goes unused. So please take this opportunity to express your vote on the international level for Toastmasters International. That's it. I do have a new email. I'll put that in the chat right after this. Shawna, I'll hand it back to you.
You're muted.
You're muted, Shawna.
Just kidding. Let's try this again. Okay, before I let you all go on your evening tonight, we do have a survey. It only takes a couple minutes, just a couple questions about tonight's training. I'm going to put that in the chat now. And then I'm also, if anyone is interested in being an area director, I'm putting my email and Tina Tate's email in the chat as well. So you can email us if you are interested. So here is that link. And when you're done, please come back and put your favorite ice cream flavor in the chat, and then you are free to go. Thank you all so much for coming tonight.